I'm going to teach you how to build the best morning routine possible. Not the aesthetic kind you see on TikTok, not the cold shower and kind of like rituals that make you feel productive but don't move your life forward. I'm talking about a routine that produces actual output, that front loads your most important work into the first couple hours of your day and compounds over time to build real momentum. In this video, I'm breaking down first what a morning routine actually is for and why most people get it dead wrong. Second, my personal rule, the Blitzberg method that ensures 80% of your results are locked in before distractions even show up. And third, how to build your routine around your brain, your goals, and your life. First, what actually is the point of a morning routine? Understanding what the point of a morning routine is matters because without grasping the true reason your morning routine exists in the first place, you'll waste your energy on the wrong things, confuse movement for progress, and unknowingly sabotage the very benefits you're trying to get. Take, for example, the gym. Let's say you want to get stronger. You want to gain plus 20 pounds of muscle to impress the huzz. I don't know. I think that's how the kids are referring to it nowadays. But let's say you thought that this muscle was gained by you sweating and grunting as much as possible during the gym. Well, what would you do if that was the case? Well, you would probably show up in a thick hoodie and jeans. You'd probably scream really loudly at the easiest exercise. You probably would never rest and constantly move, and you'd probably only do cardio. Now tell me, are you going to get any stronger? No. But why? Sure, you could say that it's because you're not lifting the actual heavy weight, you're not progressively overloading, you're not eating correctly. But let's get deeper. Here's the real reason. You had the wrong idea of what the point of going to the gym was, which led to the wrong action. You thought you go in, sweat as much as possible, and the more you sweat, the stronger you're getting. But that's not always true. In fact, it's almost never true. This is exactly what's happening with your morning routines. See, 99% of people have one huge misconception about morning routines that makes them flat useless. And it's so stupid that it blows my mind that so many creators, the big shots you watch like Hans and all these other godless influencers are teaching you it still. The worst part is that until you get rid of this misconception, you will never be able to maximize the insane benefits of a true morning routine in your life. When I first got into self-improvement, I was a huge Hans fan. As we know now, big mistake. Long story short, I remember how he would always preach that your morning routine was about preparing yourself, meditating for 20-30 minutes, taking cold showers, journaling your thoughts, gratitude journaling, bullet journaling your day so you know what you're doing, etc., etc., etc. And because I was such a huge fan of Hamza, I listened to exactly what he said to do, and I did it exactly to the T. I meditated 20-30 minutes, which by the way, you should never do. I journaled, I took cold showers, I did all of it, and I felt miserable. Sure, I was preparing, sure, I might have felt great, I might have felt relaxed, but really I felt miserable because I wasn't moving my life forward. Something has to change. That's what I always used to think, and nothing really did change till I sat down and asked myself one simple question. If I want to build a good morning routine, what actually is the point of a morning routine? And that's when I realized something. And that's this. A morning routine is not a checklist to get you ready for the day. It's a system to get the day done before it even starts. In other words, the goal of a morning routine is to constantly increase the most important variable in anything you do, impact. That is, the degree to which an action influences a result. To really see the difference, picture two men. Man one wakes up early, lights a candle, jogs for 15 minutes, meditates, takes a cold shower, reads 10 pages of a book, makes his bed, journals for 15 minutes. He feels great. His environment is clean. His mind is also probably clear. There's no denying that. But what has he actually done to move his life forward? Now imagine man 2. He wakes up at 5 a.m. sharp. He does his 5 to 10 minute wake up routine to make sure he generally gets out of bed consistently and can conquer his day. Then before anything else, he spends 30 to 45 minutes in prayer, adoring God, grounding his purpose, and aligning his soul. Then he moves to his workout for another 30 to 45 minutes, pushing his body to grow stronger and healthier. After that, he eats a big nutritious meal, taking all his supplements to fuel both body and mind for the demands ahead. By 6:30, he's ready and fully charged to work, and he puts in focused, undistracted effort until 10:30 a.m. In this 5.5 hour window, man 2 has already accomplished all of the essential things a man must do. Same 5.5 hour window, two completely different lifestyles, two completely different results. And the beautiful thing about being a man 2 and not a man 1 is that now you can spend the rest of the day doing more of what you did in the morning. But here's the thing, realizing your mornings are broken doesn't change your life. Fixing them does. And that only happens when you have a clear rule to follow, something that forces your routine to actually produce results. Here's a question I have for you. Why go another day without a gentleman's brief in your inbox? Every day you're not reading a gentleman's brief, my personal newsletter, you're leaving momentum, discipline, growth on the table. You must understand, the best version of you starts with the right info applied in the right way with the right systems. And you won't really get any access to that in any other place other than the gentleman's brief. And so if you want free insights, click the link below or click the link in the pinned comment. And by the way, I'm working on a couple of free goodies to give away for the people that do join the newsletter for completely free. I'm putting hours of work and research into these. I would probably charge for them, but I want to give those who are willing to take the effort something in return. And so if you join now, you're locking yourself in to get those prizes when they come. Now, let's get into point number 2, the Blitzberg method. Because if you only know the concept and you don't have a rule to apply that into your life, you're going to be stuck in a frustrating cycle cycle of trying and failing. You'll waste your morning routine spinning your wheels, feeling like you're almost making progress but never quite breaking through. This leads to all of the disappointment and self-doubt in your life because you start seeing yourself as someone who can't follow through, who falls short of his potential and the man God wants him to be. I don't want that for you. Trust me, that sounds like hell. I've been through it, I've lived through it, I've escaped it, and if you give me a second, I could do the same for you. Because after developing well over 100 morning routines in my life, I developed a rule to build a perfect morning routine based on your life, your personality, and of course the concept we just talked about. I call it the Blitzberg method. Many successful people use this exact principle. Maybe they don't call it the same name, but they use it because fundamentally, I'm not making anything new if I'm honest with you. I'm just combining two really powerful principles that everybody has already been talking about, that you've probably heard about a million times, but in a way you've never heard it said before. The Pareto's principle and Parkinson's law. Basically, what I'm teaching you is how to take those two truths, which you've heard over 1 trillion times, and combining them in a way you have never heard before. So, the Pareto principle tells us that 80% of your results in life, 80% of your progress, 80% of things happen because of 20% of causes. And so 20% of your actions lead to 80% of your results. The Parkinson's law principle tells us that work expands to meet the deadline you give it. And so if you give a task 6 hours to complete, you most likely will actually take those 6 hours. But if you can condense it to an hour, as crazy as it sounds, you will genuinely accomplish the same task, most likely with the same quality and the same efficiency, just 6 times faster if you just tell yourself you only have an hour to do it. When you combine these two principles, the key to mastering your morning routines becomes clear. Compress your high-impact work into the first 4 to 6 hours of the day, if not shorter. This is the essence of an effective, not flashy morning routine, what I call the Blitzberg method. I call it that because the real Blitzberg method was all about overwhelming the enemy with intense, focused force in a short window before they could react. Instead of dragging out the battle over days or weeks, the Blitzberg commanders compressed their attacks into rapid, decisive strikes, using speed and precision to get the job done first and move on to the next objective. It's the same idea with your morning routine. Do the most critical, high-impact work early and intensely before distractions and fatigue slow you down. Okay, now let's put it all together because this is where most people get lost, moving from theory to action. But not you, because over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how to turn this strategy into a custom-fit, high-impact morning routine that's built for you. You're not copying my morning routine. You're not copying a morning routine that I stole from somebody. I'm going to teach you how to build your own morning routine. So, step number 1. Before you build your morning routine, you need to define the result it's supposed to drive. Most people skip this. They copy someone else's habits, someone else's morning routine, without knowing what outcome those habits are optimizing for. That's backwards, like our gym example earlier. If your routine isn't aimed at solving a real problem you have, or producing a real measurable result you desire, it's just busy work. Your goal is the outcome your routine should move you toward. Not a dream, not a general vibe, not a general lifestyle you want to have. A problem with a deadline. That is how I define a goal, and I think that's one of the most practical definitions you will ever hear. You need to have a goal that you can clearly look at and go, yes, I have accomplished it, or no, I have not. No maybes, no buts, no so-so. Yes or no. If it's not that black and white, your goal simply isn't specific enough. Here's how you build that type of goal. 1. Brain dump 10 problems that actually frustrate you. Not fake goals you think sound cool, but things that genuinely bother you. Stuff like, I hate how skinny I look. I have 0 income. I feel like a slave to my phone. I keep skipping prayer and feel fake. I can't focus for more than 20 minutes. I'm insecure around the girls I want to, pursue. Not in a very red pill, I'm going to get with a million women way, because we don't promote that here. But the sort of woman that you think you could see yourself having a serious long-term relationship with. Maybe it's I never finish what I start. Maybe it's I feel spiritual dry. I keep binge eating or watching junk. I waste my time and it's ruining my future. Actual, quantifiable problem. Then pick the top 3 and ask yourself, and this is how you pick the top 3. If I could fix only 3 of these in the next 90 days, which ones would change my entire life the fastest? Your answer might be, now you can't do this in 90 days, but let's say gain 10, 15 pounds of muscle by next year. Make $5,000 per month from YouTube. Pray morning and night without fail. When you write those 3 goals that would move your life forward the most, the next thing you need to do is translate those goals into quantifiable actions you can literally just implement into your morning routine. Because if you leave the goal just as a broad statement, I want to make $5,000 per month on YouTube, it is just a broad statement. It's just a vision. It's just something you kind of look forward to, you hope to achieve. You need to, and this is what people don't talk about, learn how to turn your goals into quantifiable, repeatable actions. The whole point of this system, the whole point of the morning routine is that you stack levers that you can just pull and keep hitting jackpot every single day. If you don't have those levers, you really don't have a system. You don't have any way to actually accomplish your goals, because every day you're waking up, and to continue with the casino example, it's like you're playing a different game every single time, a different jackpot machine that you have no idea about, no idea if it actually moves you forward, and no idea how much actual money you're going to get from it. But if you can stack the same 4 levers that you know you're going to win every time as long as you just do them the right way, and you know you're going to win big from them, then why wouldn't you do that? Because all you have to do is pull up to the casino, i.e. your morning routine, pull the 4, 5, 6 levers, come out with $1 billion, and the day's over. So, how do you do that? Well, when you have your goals, your 2, 3 goals, because yes, it's okay to have multiple goals at once. You don't need just one big goal. I personally have multiple goals at once, but you want to keep it at 2 to 3. When you have those, you need to cut through the noise and zero in on the actions that actually produce results. You've heard of the 80-20 rule. That 20% of your efforts create 80% of your results. But to dominate your mornings, and really to dominate life, you need the second order 80-20 rule. This means zooming in even further to a second degree, i.e., the fact that 80% of 80% of your actions, of your results, are driven by 20% of 20% of your actions, i.e., 4% of your possible actions will create about 64% of your progress. Here's how you apply the second order 80-20. For each goal, write down 50 possible actions you think can move you closer to that goal that you can repeat daily. If 50 sounds like too much, start with 25. Now, if you wrote down 50, pick the top 2 actions. If you wrote down 25, pick 1 action. That's your 4%. Quantifiably, 2 out of 50 is 4%, 1 out of 25 is 4%. Doing this, it might be hard, but it forces extreme focus on what really matters. For example, if your goal is to build muscle, your full list might include everything from cardio to stretching, meal timing to supplements. But your 4%, the essential actions, could simply be train harder every day, hit your daily calorie and protein goals consistently. Or if your goal is to make $5,000 per month on YouTube, your full list might include content ideas, scripting, filming, editing, marketing, engaging with followers, SEO research, and more. But your 4% really could be boiled down to find videos that people want to watch, make those videos better than everyone else. The whole point of step 2 is ruthlessly identify the 2 tasks that push your goal forward the most. Not just the 20% that matter, but the 4% that will create the lion's share of your progress. This recursive focus, that digging deeper and deeper to find the smallest high impact core of any action and goal, that's what makes the Blitzberg method so powerful. And now, step 3 is simple. This is how you actually build the morning routine. You convert your highest impact actions into a habit stack, right? You have 2, 3 goals, and each goal has 1 or 2 actions that move that goal forward the most. Your morning routine literally is just the actions and those goals stacked together. That's what a habit stack is, just a list of actions, right? To give you a more fleshed out definition, a habit stack is a deliberate sequence of habits you perform every morning, where one habit triggers the next, creating a smooth flow that maximizes efficiency and reduces decision fatigue. For example, you might wake up and immediately pray for 10 minutes, then go straight into your workout and follow that with a high-calorie breakfast. Each habit flows naturally into the next. They cause each other, and they're all moving your goal forward. To convert your tasks into habits, break each action into a simple, repeatable behavior tied to a specific time or cue. Like, for example, after I brush my teeth, I will pray for 15 minutes. If your task is to work out consistently, your habit could be, after I finish praying, I put on my workout clothes and start my exercise program for the day. These cues help make the actions automatic. Once you have individual habits, put them in order of priority and energy required, forming a habit stack. For example, your morning stack, i.e. your morning routine, could be wake up, brush your teeth, pray, work out, eat breakfast, and then go and work on your business or go and work on your studies. This way, each habit triggers the next naturally, minimizing wasted time and mental effort. That's exactly how you build the best morning routine possible.